The chair recognizes the gentlelady from Colorado, Mr. Gett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to express my appreciation for both of our witnesses coming today, because I do think that many of your suggestions are very helpful in helping us draft this legislation. Chairman Nord, I want to talk to you briefly about this travel issue, and I think that we can come to some kind of agreement on this, because I've been on this committee now for a long time, and we've had people come in and they say, well, lawyers approved this and this has been the practice, but sometimes when that happens, no one actually sat back and said, wait a minute, does this really pass the smell test, even though people have been doing it? And mores have changed in society too. Members of Congress used to fly around on the tab of private industry, and now we've realized that that has the appearance of impropriety. And so really my question to you, and it follows up on what Ms. Schakowsky said. Well, before I ask the question, I want to make one more point, which is, in fact, many other government agencies do not allow regulated industries to pay for travel. For example, the Securities and Exchange Commission does not accept host-paid travel reimbursements from organizations regulated by the agency. The Food and Drug Administration also does not do that, and neither does the Federal Communications Commission. So my question to you simply is, given the changing mores, given what's going on, if Congress gave the agency a budget for travel to inspect these important areas, to go to the toy show, to look at these things, if you had an independent budget to do that, I assume you would not object to us also banning host-paid travel, correct?
Of course.
Thank you very much. I think that solves that situation right there. I also want to ask you about these recalls, Chairman Nord, because in my opening statement, I'm sure you heard me say that we had 150 recall notices for children's products and toys this year, 90 last year, and 60 going back to 2002. In your opening statement, you had disputed those numbers, but the way we got those numbers was my staff went to the CPSC website and actually counted the number of recalls. And maybe it's because you're defining it more narrowly. You're only defining toys, and I'm defining children's products and toys, and your staff is now nodding in agreement. So
I'm hearing from them.
But the basic bottom line is that my point is that the recall notices for this category, children's products and toys, are going up. I think that it's likely because we have so many increasing imports coming in from abroad. Would you not agree with that?
No, I don't think I would in this respect. Our overall recalls inch up every year, and that's what you would expect them to do. And I looked at and stated in my statement toys, and we defined that very specifically. Where we have seen the recalls go up is with respect to the lead paint violence.
Right.
And that's where we've seen a big increase.
Right. And
do you
think a large part of that is because we're getting an increasing percentage of our toys from abroad, in particular from China? Your staff some of them are also nodding.
Indeed.
Just to help you out.
Indeed. The lead paint violations, by and large, were for Chinese manufactured products.
And it's because the market has shifted, right?
Yes.
And so this is another point I make, which is I think that the best way to stop the kids from getting these, I like this one that says stop, and this one has lead in it too. This is one of the recalled Thomas the Tank Engine toys. I think the way to stop these toys coming in is to prevent the lead in the first place, because I'm sure you'll agree all the studies show that a tiny fraction of recalled toys are actually ever returned. So would you agree with me that the way to stop this would be to prevent the toys from coming in the first place, if we could?
Well, that's what we were doing with the recall. I mean, we've got a lead paint.
Well, except for when you do a recall, the toys are already out in the market and in the homes. So if you could find some way, and I think you testified about this in your testimony, if you could find some way to prevent the toys from coming into the homes in the first place, then you wouldn't still have these toys in actually fairly sophisticated consumers' homes.
Well, my concern is that the provision in the bill is really not going to change that issue, because the lead that was coming in was above what was already violative of the law. What we need to make sure is a couple of things. First of all, the certification authority, which I have asked for, which we do not have now with respect to these kinds of toys, would be incredibly helpful, because what it would do is force companies to really look at these things before they are marketed.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
so you must agree.
Same thing.
Okay, great. Thank you.